podcasts over at wildgamesproductions.com and d20radio.com.
They came from the game table, dice bags in hand,
We have one brain that we share between us.
to talk about role-playing for all across the land.
And you'll like it.
The original, then basic, then one they scoured,
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
to bring AD&D to the second power.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever.
Hell. Are we getting antisocial in your old age, Glenn?
Yeah, antisocial to Gen Con. I'd rather go to North Texas RPG Con. Hi, folks. Splatbook number 112 of THACO's Hammer.
And we're off.
Yes, and we're off. We're going to talk about city stuff today. I'm DM Glenn, and
Yes.
over here,
Give me a gin.
yeah,
Gin.
that's DM Corey ordering drinks.
Sorry. Girlfriend's getting gin.
Say hi.
Hi, guys. What's going on? We're back, believe it or not. They bailed me out, and now we're back doing some more shows so we can get up some more money in case anybody else has to go to jail.
Cool. And we also have over in the far east, defending our right to have these crappy little podcasts, is Full On Gamer.
Greetings, Gamer Nation.
And
No comment otherwise.
That's what we're all waiting for. Pregnant pause.
Yeah, you can hear DM Brian over there.
Hey, folks, what's going on out there?
Oh my God. We better get into hits and crits before we get in any more trouble.
Well,
One thought he was invincible, the other thought he could fly.
so
They were both wrong.
Son of a bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
We're sending somebody in to negotiate.
Anybody else want to negotiate?
Hits and crits.
Hits and crits. Oh my goodness, it's been a while.
Yes, it has. Almost
You've
a
been
month
doing.
and a half.
What have you
Who,
been?
who are you freaking people? What are you doing on my computer?
What are you doing in my bedroom? I mean, wait.
What are you doing in my bedroom?
All right.
Why are you in
The
Glenn's
minute-
bedroom the same?
For a minute, I almost said, Brian, what have you been doing in your bedroom? No, Brian, what have you been?
Oh, if I could only answer that question honestly. Anyway,
Come on, Daddy, Brian.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. I've kind of made the switch in my online gaming to Path of Exile. I'm sort of burned out on Marvel Heroes, and I kind of don't like some of the changes they made. So I've been doing that. I got one character through the storyline on the easiest level. Now I'm trying to get another character through, and I'm having some fun. Gaming-wise, pen and paper style, I've been working on some things. Speaking of our topic of the next few episodes we're doing, I've been working on my cities in my campaign and making sure they're up to snuff. And aside from that, just, kind of working and doing the dad thing. That's about it.
Cool. How about you, Corey?
Work. My actual 9 to 5, I got sent out to Hebron, Kentucky on a trip to work at another satellite facility. It wasn't bad. Hebron, Kentucky is it's barren. There's nothing there except for an airport, a Walmart, and the hotel.
Holy crap, they're sophisticated. A hotel and a Walmart?
Yeah.
I could say something, but I won't.
Well, Hebron is like right across the South River from Cincinnati, Ohio. Hebron's like right where Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio meet. So like essentially everybody commutes from Hebron over the river to Ohio and work in Ohio and Cincinnati, and then,
Go over to Hebron where the rents are cheaper.
Yeah.
pretty much.
I've seen that before.
Other than that, I got 3 large commissions for comic book art, illustration art. One of our fellow listeners and a co-host on the show here one time, Jim Cook, has a superhero RPG he's working on, so he has commissioned me to do the interior artwork. I got another friend of mine who's doing another RPG series of modules, and I'm still working on my comic book series. So, yep,
Cool.
Drawing.
And a shout out, Zeb. You're not working on Face Rip? Come on. Anyway,
not Zeb, Jim Cook, the guy that was on the show. Yeah, no, different Cook. Trust me. If I was working with Zeb, they'd be a little bit different.
well, Zeb was on the show too.
Yes,
Oh,
he
that's
was.
right. Yes, it was. I was not on that show though.
Okay, that's true.
Mhm.
Naughty. No, yes, you were. It was our 100th episode.
Yes, actually, you were. Yeah.
I must have been drunk.
Yeah, I was going to say, get in the bottle again, huh? Okay. Full on. How's Army life? Or should I say, how's...
drink, sir.
I should say, how's Tor server life?
Still going well, and I've recruited 3 people to join me touring. So we have expanded both the Exiled Lords and the Order of 66 on SWTOR on Burger and Colony. Oh, you mean the rest of the stuff I've been doing? Yeah, I'm still doing army stuff.
So tell me,
From the middle of a barren field on the middle of an airfield in the middle of Iraq. Yes.
I was just wondering about...
Barren, there's nothing here.
Just an airport, a Walmart, and a hotel, right?
Yep.
There's a bright
Sort of
center
like
to
Kentucky.
there's a bright center to the universe. You are in the country that's farthest from. Anyway.
That's true. So, let me
Like I
ask
told a podunk flame baiter online the other day, I don't play your games, I live them. Next.
So let me ask you about Tor. How do you think it's going to change once the new movie comes out?
None, because it's located in a time period outside of their continuity that they're not really affected with.
Hence,
Who knows? They might even, with the revelation that the Knights of Ren are not a Sith order, but something called the Knights of Ren instead, there's a possibility that if they wanted to give any kind of nod to old KOTOR gamers being re-canonized in any way, shape, or form, all they'd simply have to do is say the Knights of Ren are a resurgent Revanite organization.
Yep.
Okay.
With no further details revealed than that, they've just semi-canonized a portion of KOTOR, KOTOR 2, and SWTOR without any effort whatsoever.
See, this is
But
why we
that's
have
all
full on.
supposition.
This is why we have full on the show to catch all the, Tor players who don't know about gaming.
Fair enough. I like it. I'll approve it.
Yeah, I like it too. Anyway, let's see.
Hey, Glenn.
Try it.
Glenn,
Yeah, what?
what you been
What
up
do you
to?
Oh, well,
Like
this is.
me.
I've been. Have you guys recorded shows without me recently, or
No, we've been
I'm
pretty
so
much shut down.
I pretty much told them to go ahead, but they didn't because I've been doing a stage show.
I tried.
So
know,
did
I saw
I several times, and I'm saying no more.
I was drinking. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, I've been doing a stage show here in Oklahoma City, doing Mice and Men, which will probably be over by the time this gets out.
Yeah, wait a minute.
That's just been burning my brain. So it's like, you guys, I'll see you after the 20th. But I managed to get a Wednesday off, so here I am. And gaming wise, let's see. I managed to pick up a Ghostbusters box set at Half Price Books. Got my Castles and Crusade. Finally got Low Life for Savage Worlds. Finally.
Cool.
After I found out somebody had written it down, did not write the product number down in the book at the game store, and the owner came over and said, "Oh, do you want this? Yeah, could you order it, please?" Well, our regular distributor doesn't carry it. Let me try the other one. Oh, here it is. You'll have it in a week. Thank you very much.
Nice.
A month and a half later.
Yeah, but you got it.
I did got it. Now all I'm waiting for. Now I'm patiently twiddling thumbs for Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls to hit my doorstep. They're being sent out, and I'm just trying to be a patient person and all that kind of stuff. Gaming wise, I've pretty much taken over our Saturday group. It's me and my friend Eric, because Matt decided to bow out of the Saturday group, and we lost a couple of people. And it's me and Eric is one of these days will start his 5th edition Oriental Adventures campaign. But until then, it's my group. We're playing Castles and Crusades in the good city of Bluffside. So I'm playing something D&D-ish. Just sent the people down to the sewers of Bluffside to find out what the hell's that smell. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it was like a smell that was like knocking people out and making them real sick and possibly dying. So they had to do something about it. So they found people working in cesspits and steam gnomes and all this fun stuff. And we've got some characters, let me tell you. My favorite one is Eric's character, a half-orc monk. And since I started them all at 4th level, unarmed with his fist, he does a D8.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah. There's certain things that Castles and Crusades does. Like, if they'd gone to C&C instead of Pathfinder, I probably would have been right there.
Right.
Because to me, Castles and Crusades is 3rd edition done right. And they stripped out a lot of stuff and changed things and brought all the classes back from 1st edition. And it moves better.
Good.
Yeah, so we're having fun with that, and that's pretty much me right now. So let's do some emails.
Yeah, we can do some emails.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. We have 3 emails that I've selected, and let's see. Let's go with DM Grave Dancer to start.
Hi, Grave Dancer.
Speaking,
Mr. Dancer.
Yeah, exactly, Mr. Dancer. And speaking of monks, he says, "Hello, Superior DMs. I can't even read. Jeez, it's been too long. Hello, Superior DMs. DM Grave Dancer here with a topic that I don't believe you touched on yet. How do you handle hand-to-hand combat, quote-unquote, fists and stuff in your campaigns? How do you make it more interesting beyond you throw a punch, it hits, the creature says, ow? This includes just regular PCs other than classes that can take advantage of hand-to-hand like the monk. Thanks, guys, and have a good one."
Oh boy!
Alrighty then.
I make before I unload on this guy. Go ahead, guys.
I make maximum use of the wonderful, wonderful assets to be found in the Fighter's Handbook and the Ninja's Handbook. I use the Complete Fighter's Guide, Brawling and Punching and Wrestling tables, along with the Martial Arts tables, and use those as one stage of my upgraded hand-to-hand combat. I also have hacked in and used the Oriental Adventures old school hardcore martial arts style as another form of hand-to-hand combat, depending on what level of training someone wants to seek. If they just want to use weapon proficiencies on it, like weapon proficiency slots, they can just buy into basic, I'm allowed to hit people, and do it without hurting themselves too badly by using the combat and tactics or just the Fighter's Handbook brawling table. If you want to do it with a little bit more flair, you can go into the martial arts table or the grappling table.
What's up?
Use it as it is out of that. If you want to get really hardcore and be a dedicated, not just I'm a martial artist who can hit people because I'm part of Taekwondo Leap and Dwarven martial arts and going boot to the head, then I go for, okay, let's delve into the hardcore martial art styles of the Oriental Adventures and just spend even more on it. So I have tiers of training available depending on whether or not you're an actual Oriental character or trained in a real monk fighting style, or if you are just trained with, I am a martial order of people and we do hand-to-hand combat and do it well, versus I'm a bar fighter who knows how to not get stabbed.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, now, okay, this, with me, I'm pretty much in lockstep with Flan, except I never went away from the Oriental Adventures martial arts system because I absolutely love it, and I always have. And the only thing I did is that I imported the Ninja's Handbook and a couple of other sources for flavor and to clarify some rules as to what a martial artist can and can't do. And of course, I've made and remade classes. I remade the monk class. I've made the martial artist class. Well, I didn't make it. I adapted it from a Bard game supplement, The Complete Adventure, and from there, I've tinkered with it for 20 years, and I'm finally happy with both classes. If somebody wants to walk over to somebody and punch him in the head, they can try to punch him in the head, and we'll go from there. I will just say, okay, this chart, that chart, roll it, okay, and we'll see what happens and see what you do.
Mine is okay. You want to sucker punch that guy? Roll to hit. What's your strength? Okay, you have this die. It usually goes from D4 all the way up to D6 for those high strength guys. And this is aside from martial arts. I'm just talking about barroom brawling right now.
Of course, yeah.
To me, it's not only, first of all, the first edition table. Oh, God almighty. It took me a while to get that out of my head. Why do I have to roll a chart and say how I throw? I throw a punch at the guy. I do an uppercut. Well, it says on the chart. I don't care what it says on the chart. I throw an uppercut. But to me is getting hit. Mm-hmm. You got to think about, okay, say you do a D6. Say you're like a 16 strength guy.
Yep.
You do a D6. Boom. Okay, that's going to take off their hit points. But as far as I'm concerned, that's stun hit points.
Right.
They really got to sit there in a back alley and beat the holy crap out of you in order to kill you.
Right.
Something which a sword would be more efficient at. But, if you're getting mugged in an alley by three guys,
Right.
So you're still doing the quarter damage, actual damage thing.
Yeah. 3/4 simulated, 1/4 actual damage.
Yeah, I can go with that. I used to just you have these separate stun hit points.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically did it like champion, stun and body. You run out of stun hit points, you're knocked unconscious.
Right.
That kind of thing.
That makes sense.
I have successfully experimented with vitality and wound points, and it works well, too, for the same kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay. Corey?
I'm sorry, I was in my drink.
Jeez.
Is there enough room in there for you?
Yeah, it's a gallon jar. Yeah, what I used to use the fighter's chart and the fighter's handbook, and a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, who's DM'd for me a couple times. He's pretty good. His name's Brian Caraway. I don't know if any of you guys know him or not.
Geez.
But he made a martial artist class, and I really like its combat. The way he created it. So I kind of stole that, and I've been using that.
Oh.
But as far as, a cleric walking up and punching a guy at the bar just for being a jerk, bare fist is 1 to 2 hit points plus strength bonus. Mailed fist is D4 plus strength bonus. And once you get to half your hit points and non-lethal, you're unconscious.
That'll work.
I usually do it that way, make it quick and easy and dirty. Your constitution, you can start rolling for system shocks when you're down, below half every time you take damage, just like we do if, you take more than half your hit points in one hit. You take a system shock roll. There's random things that I'll do depending on, terrain, using an improvised weapon like a bar stool, but punching is just usually 1 to 2 damage plus strength bonus towards half the hit points towards unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and
that'll work.
That makes perfect sense.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah.
And
about that.
And that was something else that I realized that I needed to use for my martial artist and monk classes, is that even starting at first level, depending on the type of style you take, a martial artist can legitimately kill a normal human being very easily with his bare hands.
Yes.
So I had to put in an option for the player to where he's inflicting temporary damage or lethal damage. That way, if say you have to capture a mage, and I'm sorry, but monks and martial artists make really good mage killers. But you don't want to kill the mage. Yes, beat the living holy crap out of him. But yeah, don't kill him. Leave him laying there, on the ground like Loki at the end of the Avengers. Puny god. Anyway, he's still alive, so he can face justice. But
I know a guy who has a D12 punch.
Really?
That's usually
his name's
usually
Chuck,
that's a case.
Chuck Norris.
Usually that's a case of that's when you choose to, just like if you were going at somebody with the flat of the blade with your melee weapons to strike, to subdue, just use those same rules except with your monk fists and your monk hands and your monk feet, and you do it that way.
Pretty
you
much.
take your penalty to hit because you're trying to not kill them, and then you take your reduction in damage.
Yep.
But instead of doing your lethal damage, you're doing non-lethal damage. That's the nice thing of the actual monk martial artist class is you out the gate are doing lethal damage and have to pull your punch to not.
Yes.
Which sets them apart from someone who just takes Oriental Adventures martial arts, who sets them apart from someone who's rolling on the Fighter's Handbook or Ninja's Handbook martial arts, punching and wrestling or brawling tables, which just scales your damage down appropriately on the level of competence of the actual attacker.
Just a side note about Castles and Crusades Monk. At around 4th level, you get the special ability Iron Fist, which basically makes your fist the equivalent of a magical weapon.
Nice.
There's nothing magical about it, but you can hit creatures that can only be hit by magical weapons. Later on, in higher levels, you get the equivalent of that. Was that key attack where they hit you and they say you're already dead?
Right. Yeah. That's the quivering palm.
So with that, and the Iron Fist, these guys can one punch anything.
Yeah. 5-point palm exploding heart technique.
You know, where's the Tarrasque? Boom, he's dead.
5-finger death punch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, there are various ways to do it, ranging from just I walk and punch him, do 1 to 2 points plus your strength bonus, all the way up to, a 10th level monk who can do like 4d6 damage with his bare hands.
Holy crap!
And they are and equivalent to a +1 weapon on top of it.
Oh, you should have seen Eric the last game. He was so ecstatic he could do a D8 with his fist.
Yep, and that's just fun to just walk up and punch holes in people,
or walls, or just it makes a great impression.
Exactly, literally.
Yeah, pun intended.
Yes, you're definitely going in there with full scion. Oh no, he's got attacks at level 9,000.
Over 9,000. Anyway, shall we stop there?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do another one.
All right, next email.
One thing to go. I'm not going to stop yet. One more thing to add to it. I'm not going to pull the friggin' Murphy's Rules thing and make you beat on someone for half an hour to eat every last hit point. Once you get someone unconscious in the street and you're outside of combat and you have nothing better to do, it's simply a coup de grace at that time and you kill them.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless you physically say you're doing nothing but non-lethal damage and you're, slamming their head into the concrete, or you're giving them one last punch for good measure,
Yeah.
Yep. Makes
anyway,
sense.
let's do another one.
Okay, this one is from DM Freddy.
Hey, Freddy.
Okay, he says, it never occurred to me that people would not utilize the 2nd edition sphere system regarding priest spells. But I've seen people talk about this online and in person in-game. I always felt that the sphere system was one of the best things 2E got right compared to other editions. I tend to agree. It is one of the more customizable aspects of the toolbox that is 2nd edition. I feel allowing priests to cast all the priest spells really jacks up the class. Spear system gives each class a bit of flavor. Sure, they still have their other abilities to lean on, turn undead, druid languages, pass without trace, etc.
Swing with a freaking mace.
That too.
Yeah.
What's the difference between clerics and druids now? One's an armored undead turner, the other one's a light armored skirmisher with nice saves and some hippy dippy powers before 7th level. Curious on everyone's take and insight as usual. Okay. Well, I'll start it off. Yeah, I think that was one of the things that really kind of drew me in to 2nd edition when I actually decided to play a cleric for the first time under that system. Is that you had the spheres, you didn't have everything off the bat, and you kind of had to think a little bit when you picked your spells. I mean, this is long before I found out about the concept of free casting. So it was one of those where, yeah, you had to take a couple of healing spells, maybe a detection spell, maybe a protective spell, and maybe a couple of utility spells just to make sure you had all your bases covered. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I moved toward free casting anyway, because you were thinking too much like a magic user at that point. So,
Right.
But even so, I mean, yeah, the sphere system, I've always liked it. And I liked it more after they reorganized everything and made sure that clerics didn't have this and druids had that, and specialty priests.
Was that second printing?
No, that was when that was Spells and Magic. Now I think about it.
Oh, okay.
Even though they had it in a Dragon Magazine article, I think like a year before. So, I mean, it basically just reorganized the sphere system and said, okay, druids have the elemental sphere across the board, all 4 elements. Clerics only have, I think, earth and fire. I think it's either earth and fire or earth and water. But it basically gave the druid a little bit more to draw from as far as spells went, instead of them just relying on, like Freddie said, their hippy dippy powers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that was one of the better things in 2E.
Agreed.
Yep.
Indeed, and it just lets you could still have that free casting ability just within the bounds of your sphere. You can blend both of those. Have a sphere that's your free casting pool versus just your spell list pool, and you've got the same kind of utility.
Yep. And like I said, it's just also what sphere does what spells do what, and then you can just plan accordingly when you're building a cleric. I mean, if you're doing it just by the book, you're basically just saying, okay, my cleric can either be just a generic cleric of a faith, or he's a specialty priest, and they get an ability and possibly at the cost of spell casting, and then it went into more depth about that in the priest handbook,
so they can be a sphere caster or a spear holder.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Something like
Spear
that.
carrier. I blew that one. Okay. Whatever. Go on. Next letter. Never mind. Next letter.
Yeah, it's been a while, Glenn. Okay. This one is a new emailer to the show. His name is Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Okay, he says, "Hey guys, just found the podcast a couple of months ago and I find it very helpful. I'm currently at Blackbook 41. He's got a ways to go. The reason I'm emailing is that I came up with this idea to do a carnival campaign with the PCs as humanoids working in a traveling carnival. I figure this will make it easier to move things along and allow for many different kinds of situations and settings."
He's taking my advice. Cool.
My question is, I want to do performances as part of the campaign, but I'm struggling how to make that happen mechanically. I've had one session with a performance, and it was a nightmare. The players seemed to get bored waiting for their turn to perform. I let them come up with their thing for the performances because I couldn't think of a better way. I did have them doing ability checks to see if they succeeded, but it still seemed very slow and boring. Any ideas on how to make this less miserable for me and the PCs would be awesome. Thanks.
Okay. Here, this one's a tough one. This goes back to my overarching background theory that I came up with the remember the cattle drive?
Yes.
Same difference. I mean, same concept. And it sounds like his players like to do that stuff. Okay, I'm a tightrope walker, I'm a clown, I'm a wild animal trainer, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want to do their thing. I'd reduce it to a couple of roles at the most, because to me that stuff should be in the background.
Yeah, I agree.
The adventure is what happens when you're doing stuff like that, or in between doing stuff like that. In fact, you can have a fight in the middle of a performance.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, it gets to a certain point where a performer's performing and say orcs attack the tent or something like that. At that point, screw the performance, pull out the sword and go kill them.
Right. Yeah, and that's how I would kind of do it. See, the problem with doing a carnival campaign is that, yeah, you're moving from place to place, but your characters are doing the same things.
It's a good idea.
Oh yeah, it is, but it just needs to be refined a little bit.
I mean, take my take my cattle drive thing. I mean, we don't role play herding cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? No, I'm just kidding.
Or getting them fed and watered and moving them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably have the PCs be the scouts for the cattle drive,
right?
To scout a couple days ahead, and you could probably do a similar thing like that with the circus. Have them be the advanced people who find the place. Okay, this is good. We'll talk to the locals, talk it up. Hey, there's going to be a circus, blah, 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 blah. They can still be performers.
Right.
Because how many rinky-dink circuses have you heard where the performers and the publicity people are the same one?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of those.
Especially if they're short on hands. So it'll work. It's just that you got to use the circus as a background.
Right.
Okay,
right.
I'm not saying you don't have to do performances, but I mean, if it's getting carnival, if it's getting in the way, then concentrate on the story you're telling.
Yeah,
that you guys are telling.
Right. Yeah. Expedite.
Don't get bogged down in the minutia of their jobs and their situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's my two bits.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, it's like I can kind of see where players would get bored, but at the same time, it's like, to me, I'm thinking of the carnival scene in the James Bond movie Octopussy, where there's a nuclear bomb in the base of the cannon, and James Bond has to go through like 5 or 6 different things to try to get to it, including fighting off the security, and even then he had to tell them there was a bomb in the bottom of the cannon. And, then he had to disarm it. But I was thinking something along those lines. Yeah, it's like, all of a sudden, you guys are performing, everything is going okay, or maybe if how the DM's rolling, either going good, bad, or indifferent. And just, as things are drawing to the big build up to, and all that, maybe something come from an outside agency comes in, like, orcs or whatever you want to use, and then all of a sudden you have to not only... Go ahead.
No, I'm muting. Keep talking.
I'm sorry. Okay, edit that. Instead, an outside agency comes in, and now the players have to take up arms against it, and not only that, and also to protect the audience, because everyone in the 90% of the people in the audience, it's just 0 level people, who you basically sneeze on them and they'll fall unconscious, and so now the players have to defend the audience and evacuate them, get them out of there, and hold off whatever's threatening them and things like that. That's how I would do it, but that's just me.
How many times? Well, I was going to take a comic example. It's just not good.
Well, personally, you can go about this, Jason, multiple ways. First thing I would do on this system or the campaign that you're running is the PC started in this campaign as carnival goers. That doesn't mean that they're the only carnival performers. Right. So one of your guys is an acrobat or a thief and he tightrope walks. He's not the only tightrope walker. Mm-hmm. So essentially you can have them pull into a town, and guess what? If they're not performing that night, they're stagehands. Guess what? Yeah. They just saw somebody assassinate somebody behind a tent. They don't have to be actually part of the performance. Right. You can have them doing things around the carnival that's part of the carnival, but not actually be performers.
Exactly. And, there's always downtime. I go into the town to get a drink or whatever. I'm off tonight,
The other question that you have was you want to do performances as part of the campaign. Then what you do is you don't do them one by one. You don't give them detail, every minutia, like he said. What you do is you have everybody perform at the same time. And to keep everybody enthralled in the party and make sure everybody's doing everything, you go like this. Pull a piece of paper behind your screen and put every character's name down. And you go like this. Okay, everybody, what are you, strongman? Roll me a strength check. What are you, juggling? Roll me a dex check. Everybody roll me your stat. Affordable. Did you roll under it? And if they didn't, you put a mark down on the paper, and you keep doing that as you say, yes, you're lifting your strong stuff. People are clapping. Hey, a woman comes over and gives you a kiss as you're trying to balance on a ball, whatever. You give them little hints of parts of their performance. Don't make each individual performance the center of attention. You will make your other players bored. Then at the end of the night, whoever has the least amount of marks they're going to get talked to by maybe the mayor of the town, or maybe the boss of the carnival. Maybe the mayor comes over and his assistant goes, my employer would like to speak with you, maybe performing personally for the mayor at a party, something like that. Those are the things that way it shows, hey, I did really good rolling, even though I was still part of the party. I wasn't singled out until after the performances, but their performance roles still show that what they did as individuals counts.
And that could take as little or as much time as you guys want.
Correct.
Yep.
So you can. I mean, you've seen those pictures of 3-ring circuses where everybody's performing something different in each ring,
and it's all happening at once. Yep.
Yeah. And the ringmaster's standing in the middle, and he's pointing. Look at the guy over here. Hey, got that kind of thing.
Yep.
Anyway, got a ranger in a cage, taming lions and tigers
and bears. Oh my!
Yes.
Couldn't help it.
Lions and tigers and flumps. Oh my!
Yep.
And guess what? Basically, what you've just described is what was codified in the rules in Star Wars Saga Edition, and I'm not going to say it. In D4E, but made better in Star Wars Saga Edition.
Yeah.
The skill challenge. Mm-hmm. It's a skill challenge. It's a non-combat encounter. The encounter itself is the encounter. You find different ways to allow people to succeed in the encounter. It's designed not so much about the combat, but it's about whatever it is you're non-combating trying to do. This is a thing that is very much embracing using proficiencies, whether using stat checks, whether using proficiencies, and using proficiencies that don't necessarily apply to the listed strict definition of what the proficiency is. How can you apply what proficiencies you have to this situation and be successful? Or something similar to successful. And then you accrue a certain number of successes as a group collectively to achieve the overall
standing ovation. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how you use a skill challenge. And you can there are several articles and locations where you can see details on constructing skill challenges out of anything, not just a performance art piece. So you take it and you put it on its head and you give it a carnival or bardic type of performance piece position. You can do all of this that way. You can do it with a gambling scenario. You can do it with a gladiatorial scenario, plus a little bit of actual combat or not. All depends on what's going on, and you can keep everybody involved at the table, all engaged. And again, like they were saying, definitely do it something where everyone has something to contribute at the same time through each encounter round, as opposed to, well, the jugglers are juggling and everyone else is waiting in the wings, unless they have other things to activate.
Right.
Have the multiple rings going on at the same time. Have everyone doing their part.
Yeah,
Here's another idea. Okay, they all do they do just what you said, what Corey and Full On said. They do that, but only for a short amount of time. But the main act is the high wire guy up there who's an NPC, or the high diving guy up there, or the animal trainer over here, who's all NPCs, and you're there because you just finished your act and something happens.
Right.
The high dive, all of a sudden he gets a funny look on his face, there's magical stuff around his head, and he falls.
Right.
Somebody forgot to fill the tank for the high diver, or this water magically disappeared, or somebody all of a sudden the animal trainer took an arrow in the shoulder. Where the hell did that come from?
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and
it gets your characters involved in that.
Right, and even if it was just doing the quote-unquote skills challenge, like Full On said, I just had an idea about it. Maybe Corey said it, I'm not sure. But treat it as if it's a combat. Have everybody roll initiative if they're all doing things at the same time, like the strongman's over here, the fire eater's over there, the animal trainer's over here, and the acrobatics and the high wire acts over there, and they're all, you got 3 rings going, or however many rings you want, going at the same time. It's like, look, okay, everybody roll initiative. Okay, you're doing this. Okay, resolve that. Then you move on to the next one. You go bam, 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 bam in rapid order that keeps your players engaged. Yep. And then maybe,
the main event.
And then maybe the main event, where each one of the characters is doing a particular thing that they're good at, like strongman, acrobatics, whatever, and they're trying to accomplish a single goal that requires everybody to make their checks. And if somebody blows
like a
one,
human pyramid.
yeah, something like exactly. And if somebody blows it, then the other characters have to take penalties in order to cover for that person. And then, and if everybody makes their checks, and the funny part is, you can have like 3 attempts going while the drums are going in the background and all that kind of stuff, and making sure that everybody makes it. And if that keeps going on, then you just can keep going with that, and you keep your players engaged. It's like, oh, I almost made it. Okay, everybody's got to take a -1 and to your ability, whatever ability check you're doing, to cover for the other guy, and you do it that way, and that's teamwork in the basis sense.
And a way to actually encourage more of that and more actual use of the things that your character can do outside of what you think your character sheet tells you can do is to really make it so that the only way they accrue a failure is if everybody at the table doesn't do something, successfully or not, to contribute to the skill challenge.
Right.
That's the only way you actually start failing at one.
Right. That makes perfect sense. I like
Gotcha.
that. Yeah.
What were you saying, Corey?
Nothing.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that, like Corey said, there are multiple ways to do it. It just, you might want to, do something.
And it all
that keeps
involves
everybody engaged.
engaging the players and role-playing.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point. If they're engaged on just rolling ability checks, fine. If they're engaged the other way, fine. No matter what works if it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't cause the DM to pull his hair out trying to keep track of it, which is why you wrote in the first place.
Exactly.
So that's hopefully you can take some simpler ways that we just gave you and let us know how it's going. And folks, if you want to talk to us, you can send us an email at thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Or
a phone number we haven't listened to in a month and a half.
Come on, Corey.
I know it's a 405.
You can do it.
It's 405-806-0555.
Yes.
You got it. Yeah.
You're not too drunk.
Corey for the win. That's, man, otherwise we would have had full on do it.
I'll drink to that.
Okay, Dean Martin.
Okay, let's get into the meat here on people skills.
Wish we have time to bury them, fellas.
Hell with them fellas. Buzzards gotta eat, same as worms.
How can you shoot women, children? Easy. You just don't lead them so much. Ain't war hell?
Where shall I find a new adversary so close to my own level? Try the local sewer.
People skills.
People skills. What are your best city or adventure classes or kits?
Yeah, stuff for now. Corey, this is your baby, and I was very impressed when you came up with this list of topics, because even though we've done to this point 111 splat books, we really haven't delved into city adventuring.
And you know what? He's so impressed. You know what he's saying, Corey, is don't screw it up.
Oh, is that what he's saying? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just giving credit where it's due, because this is something you came up with, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. So yeah, okay. So I've been just doing a little background research while we've been talking, and listening to reading emails and commenting and bloviating and whatever else we were doing.
What?
Yeah, bloviating. So
what are you, a whale?
Yeah, dark clothes. Yeah, just call me Moby. Anyway,
it's a whale of a tail.
Anyway, so yeah, I was just looking through like the table of contents in some of the class splat books we've covered through the years, and I've noticed that there are some that are really good for city adventures and others not so much.
You mean like the barbarian or the woodsman or the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
the green. I want to see one of those ranger types, the green men with the third arm in the chest walking to town.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, followed by a Campestry farmer kit.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. So, I was just looking at it, and I mean, just looking right now at the complete Bard's handbook, and they have, of course, the true Bard is good for a city campaign. I mean, they're bards and thieves. This is where they rule the roost in game mostly, because if depending on whether the city you're going to is home base or just a city that you're going to on your way to X, Y, or Z, of course you're going to have your bard, and your thief.
I'd argue about magic users, but they tend to be rather cloistered and hermitish. So yeah.
They got their nose in their spell book most of the times. I mean, unless you're, the mage is a mage thief or something like that.
And some clerics never even leave the temple.
Yeah, then there's that. But most of the kits in the Bard's Handbook are really good for city adventures. Like the Bard, the True Bard, which is the one in the Player's Handbook, the Blade, who's a performer, the Gallant, who can, mix with the upper crust. Let's see, the Thespian, who can, who's, a different sort of performer, but
that would mean me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're a bard with the Thespian kit. Of course you are.
I'll go as far back to our first episode. Well, second episode. The Myrmidon.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with an ambassador hiring one of his soldiers to be a personal guard and to make sure that things run smoothly in the town while he's visiting.
Got that right.
Okay, Kevin Costner, continue being the bodyguard.
Exactly. Well, or Chris Makepeace, for that matter.
At least he's not the postman. But
yeah, jeez. But I mean, moving to the Fighter's Handbook. If I can pull open there it is. The Fighter's Handbook, which has the Cavalier, the Gladiator, of course, the Myrmidon, as we said, the Noble Warrior and the Cavalier probably are best. Because not only do they have role-playing opportunities, but like I said, they can get in with the Gallant. They can get in with the upper crust of society.
The Noble Warrior?
Yeah, the Noble Warrior. Yeah, for sure.
I keep thinking of the guy with the tear, not burying his heart at Wounded Knee and stuff.
Well, that's the whole point of him. He is the out-of-fish noble warrior who's in the city instead of out in his barbarian tribe.
Tarzan. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the swashbuckler is made for city adventures. All he's got to do is walk down the street and stuff starts happening if the DM has anything on the ball. And, and you have, moving on to of course, the Thieves Kit, which almost every kit in here is good for city adventures, especially the beggar, because they can be down in the street.
Natural.
Yeah, that's the natural. The spy.
The beggar, the spy, the assassin, the
cut purse,
the
fence. The fence is good. Yeah,
the cat burglar, the thief acrobat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and if you want to turn it on its head. And you guys are, this is more of a city-based campaign. You use the investigator.
Yep.
Yeah.
The bounty hunter.
Yep.
Yeah.
The pirate, if they're at a docks.
Yeah, if they're at
a city.
The troubleshooter.
The retired pirate.
Mm-hmm.
A place where the scribe doesn't feel like a boat anchor.
Exactly. And, another one, if I can find that, there's one in the complete Paladin's Handbook that I thought was really good, and I'm trying to find it right now. Oh, there it is. Of course, you have the Chevalier. Let's see, the Inquisitor. If you're using, if you're in a law, you're using like a Law and Order type thing, and things like that.
I save people and kill orcs and stuff and get treasure, but in the spare time I burn witches.
Yeah. If you
anything that's an undead slayer is also good because, like we said, the graveyards in a city have a wall not to keep things out, but to keep things in.
Correct. And that's just a minor campaign run right there. Just, there's stuff going on in the graveyard. I mean, look at the classic adventure, the Pool of Radiance module, Ruins of Adventure. There's a whole thing surrounding a graveyard where the players have to make forays in there because it's swarming with undead, and they have to put a stop to whoever is raising all of this undead.
Oh yeah, Gage's very first D&D game that we played was him going into a graveyard trying to stop the undead from rising because of this magic item this one corpse had that accidentally got activated and started raising all the undead in the graveyard.
Nice.
Something simple, get him going.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
work great.
You gave him Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess.
This is my broomstick. Anyway.
Yes.
But, let's see. But yeah, I mean, if you're running a city campaign, and I've never had the guts to do it, I just rely too much on the wilderness and dungeons, because that's where my bread is buttered, and I make no excuses for it. But if I was going to run a city campaign, it's role play. Most of it's role play heavy. It's more dealing with the movers and shakers in a town or a city, and figuring out who your allies are and who your enemies are,
right.
and whether or not they're going to switch, turn code on you at some point.
And as I've always said, if you just have to shove them down a hole in a dungeon, put them in the sewers.
Put them in sewers. Yeah. Corey.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is why Waterdeep and Undermountain is popular. This is why Greyhawk as a set is popular. This is why, what the hell's the freaking Grey Mouser City? That's popular. Nuon, okay, that's also why Eberron is so friggin' awesome. Cities have much to offer for a campaign if you want to get your town on.
Right.
Skullport.
Yeah, exactly. And you can use things like Volo's Guide to Waterdeep or Volo's Guide to the Sword Coast, and it gives you a good primer on how to run city campaigns. I mean, they gave a whole box set to Waterdeep for that reason. Because you can get lost in Waterdeep, and you don't really even have to go out into the wilderness to adventure. There's plenty of adventure
Undermountain has 2 box sets.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And 3 modules.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. And, a properly run Undermountain campaign, as long as your players don't get bored, that can last for years, literally.
Or killed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, then there's that too. But they know the risk going in, or at least they should.
We have necromancers. Doesn't stop you if you have the right necromancer on call.
Pardon me, sir. Right. We are in town and we are civilized. I am a necromancer. I am an anatomist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
forgot about them.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what I would like to see in my campaign, and if any of my players are listening, don't do it now because we're actually playing a city campaign, and I know you're cheating and sucking up. But I'd like to see a druid. But I'd like to see a city druid.
Okay.
Stays down in the sewers.
Take the kid to Beastmaster.
Okay.
He oversees, essentially, he is the ASPCA of the town.
The dog catcher.
The dogs. He oversees the strays. He oversees that the horses are not mistreated. He protects the city as his grove or his forest, but instead he's the Beastmaster who makes sure all of the animals in his zone are treated with respect.
Well, any kind of corral or warehouse area or ranch will have a stable buck who could be a druid. Since he deals with the horses and the mules and the cows and stuff.
That'd be a cool thing to see the players. Hey, I'm going to a tavern. All right, well, I'll take the horses to the stable. I'm going to go have a nice talk with the stable hand.
Yeah.
How are you treating your animals? You know what I mean? That would be a cool class to see somebody actually investigating parts of the city. Okay, I'm going to go down the alleyway and look for thieves. All right, well, I'm going down the alleyway because I thought I heard a cat meow down here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Or a rat, or, you know, do you have snakes? Do you have gators? Do you actually have a sewer system? That's a whole other ecosystem that they're going to be involved with.
A druid whose profession is rat catcher.
Doesn't need to kill them, just needs to remove them out of the dangerous area.
That's right. I got a teleport spell just for that purpose. Where do you teleport them to? Oh, about 50 feet down. They keep coming back. Well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you got to find out why they keep coming back. I mean, and as we know, over the years, we've been doing this podcast. How long? What? Since 2000? Yeah, 5 years.
Since 1985, feels like.
Yeah, but as we know, the sewers is somewhere you just don't go in Corey's campaign because you may come back with dysentery and missing limbs and things.
Leprosy.
Like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On your way to becoming a were-rat.
Yep.
I'd have a druid who is a Grell Wrangler.
Nice.
The Grell
Whisperer.
Yeah, the Grell Whisperer.
Did you just say gangrel? That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
He white wolfed out on us. That was awesome.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Okay. But yeah, I mean, getting back to the topic, there are plenty of kits for a city-based campaign.
I'm the Odiug Whisperer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, somebody who's raising Odiugs and selling them out of the toilet in his house. Anyway, yeah.
I make Odiugs.
I don't want to know how.
Anyway, shall we?
Yeah, we shall. Give us your ideas for Kids and Guys, THACOShammer@gmail.com, and on to Rule 0.
Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
Hey, rules are, there ain't no rules.
Hey! Ladies! That was fun!
Thank you for a very enjoyable game.
Rule 0.
Rule 0, City Building Part 1, the beginning. Here we go with another short little series on city building.
Short, yeah, it's fine.
Not another one about city building, another series. You guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, we got plenty of these series going on, and
what do we start with? The Bedrock.
Yeah,
that's a good place.
I get a lot of messages from a lot of people who listen to the show or know me from DMing, and they ask me, "Dude, how do you build your cities? How do you start your cities? Can you help me build the city? I need a city built." I just figured enough of that is enough. We can get a nice discussion between the four of us as DMs and how we would go about building a city, the nuances we look at, what we try to stay away from, what black holes we don't want to deal with, what we don't get into, like taxation and tax brackets and,
Cities are an excellent place for a new GM to start because you're going to put a little land out there, a castle, and a city.
Yeah.
Before we go on to like the ins and outs and the nitty gritty of this, I should say the best way to come up with a city, steal your ass off.
Yep.
There are so many city sites. There's a book on TSR second edition. It's called City Sites. Yep. I've got some of the what's the stuff Janelle JK's worked on? City books.
Yep.
Things like that. I mean, it gives you stuff to put in cities. Just find, call it Bohunkville and start stuffing stuff in there from other places.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my shortcut.
But that's okay. I mean, you don't have to try to think up everything on your own, even though if you've got the creativity, just let it fly. But it's okay to, as my former DM once said, be a total vacuum cleaner. Just suck up every reference, every trope, everything you can think of from movies, TV, literature, wherever. Even if you for some reason just decide to take a walk around a major city like say New York, walk around Manhattan for a couple of hours and just look around and listen, you will see things.
Right.
I mean, if I was feeling my oats, I could go over to Detroit and do that, but I know better. But
here's the basic how to start.
Yeah.
If you're not going to sit down now, are we talking about sitting down and actually planning a city, or
plan one from the ground up?
First of all, think of your players.
Mm-hmm.
Think of what they're about and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, there are just certain basic things adventurers need. After that, it's all gravy.
Right.
So you give them an inn to go to. You give them someplace where they can buy stuff, maybe a temple. And just run with that for a while. And then as you need stuff, you come up with stuff. At a certain point in time in the campaign, you're going to go, oh, I got to sit down and map all this stuff out. That's when you start mapping the city.
Right. I mean, I lean, of course, because my campaign is Mistar, I lean heavily on the Gazetteers. And I use what's there, but I change I take what I don't like and I change it. Just going by the Gazetteers because, the whole Immortals worshipping thing, I said, no, this is going to be more typical second edition. They're going to be deities, they're going to be temples, they're going to be faiths, and things like that. So I took a section of Specularum, the capital city in the duchy, and made that the temple district. And of course, the second I did that, I find out that someone else did it better, so I just took that. Somebody actually made a series of maps. I can't remember. I want to say it's Agathocles who did it. I'm trying to give credit where it's due, but somebody took this capital city Specularum and did it sort of like Raven's Bluff in Forgotten Realms.
That's awesome.
That kind of thing. Just did it district by district, broke it down, buildings of import, at least 40 of them in each segment of the city. And then when he got to the temple district, I'm like, okay, the temple to Poseidon's going to go over here, which is closest to the sea. The temple of this god's going to go over here. The temple of that god's going to go over there. And then I just start writing it up. That's just me.
Okay, before I shut my big mouth and let other people talk, let me suggest one reference book that you should have.
Okay.
Either the original or the D20 redo by Necromancer Games or whatever. City State of the Invincible Overlord.
Oh, jeez.
That thing is packed with city stuff.
That thing scared the crap out of me.
Go thou and steal.
Not literally, but yeah. I mean, I remember that box set, and I remember somebody at my local Walden Books back in the day. They opened it up, so I started reading it. I'm like, oh my god, there's too much stuff in here.
Yes, but that's what that's what a DM needs.
Yeah, I agree.
You start cherry picking at that point. All right, I'm going to shut up. You guys talk.
Okay.
Here's something else to think about. You don't have to build friggin' Waterdeep today.
No.
So here's another thing you could do, and it works for a city. You start small. You start with your party, your group, your crew being all from the same district. You don't have to say, well, which one of you is going to be a noble? You get to be from the Red Keep, and you're going to be a peasant, so you're going to be from Flea Bottom. I'm stealing right here. But you can do whatever you want with those. And you can say, okay, we're collectively going to be this district. And people live their entire lives without leaving their district. Guess what? You're adventurers. You have reason to go to other sectors eventually. So you can start them from one district, and you can build up out of that. You can have everything start in the trade district. So you have houses, you have hovels, you have bars, you have stores, and you have warehouses. Now, things start going wrong and you have to branch out from that. You've got to start getting engaged with the guard and the watch, or you have to start getting engaged with the landowners who own some of these warehouses, or the thieves guilds, or the mage guilds, or whatever, or whoever's dealing with whatever's going on there. And you can just spider web out from there, and your city will grow under your feet until you decide to actually put a wall. And this is the border. This is the edge. This is beyond. This is Wilderlands. You can stage yourself up without having to try to commit to building the whole damn city at once.
Right.
Because even within a district, you're going to find zones of, well, this is where these things go on, and this is where those things go on. And you just put names to them as you go.
Right.
And certain cities that are published are made like that. Once again, I'm going to say Bluffside for Castles and Crusades. If you look at the map, it is designed to be a whole city, or you can pluck any damn district out of it and put it in your world. You don't have to use the whole thing. Just take that out. Boom, there's a merchant's district. Okay, fine, we got it. Anyway, go ahead.
No, what I was going to suggest, and this is one of the supplements that I lost in my move. Gary Gygax, after he left TSR, he started making another campaign world. And I'm trying to find the name of the place, but it was a supplement that I liked because He made a city, and then he turned it into just basically turned it into like In Search of the Unknown. He had the basic bare bones of the city there, and then everything there was blank. The DM could throw in whatever he wanted, however he wanted, and rearrange and do these other things and make the city his own.
I want a copy of that.
Yeah, I wish I could find it. I'm trying to find it, and I'm looking for it as we're talking.
Okay, so what you can do is you can bootleg an old adventure just like X3. You take that city that they have there, and it has everything basically laid out as districts, but they have a blank slate of all the content of the districts, where they have everything in there marked around the map with little road lines and stuff like that, with circles for stores and squares for taverns, different quantities of each in each sector, and it's just you put a number in each of those for each district and say, here's a list. These are all the stores in this section. These are all the bars in this section. You can name them however you like, call them whatever you want, put them into whatever quantity you want so that they have a place to go to get to a certain thing if they can just find it in the town.
Right. And exactly. And there are so many of those throughout the run of D&D, going all the way back to the original Greyhawk set and moving right on to into the later editions, that that it's easy to find just something that works, and then you just make it your own. You'd say, okay, take this, move that there, take that away, move that there. So, it's not that hard in the end.
No, it's not.
New Infinities Productions. That's the company that Gygax ran after he left TSR.
What was that? Legendary Adventures or something?
No,
Dangerous Journeys.
Dangerous Journey.
Yeah, it was just before. I'm not sure if it was that, but it was right before that. Because
Talk about a rare out of print series.
Oh god, that was one of the things I was upset that I lost in my move, because I spent a lot of time stocking that damn thing.
You want to buy 12 of the books? I have them.
Talk after the show.
Yeah, we'll talk after the show.
I might have to arm wrestle Brian for these. So
okay. Whoever brings me a pre-spell compendium set gets the books.
Yeah, make
Corey,
it 2.
Corey, I could give you mine, but
we'll talk. All right,
we'll talk.
So yeah, as for City.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, go on.
I was just continuing conversation. I mean, I was letting Full On finish what he was saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I do a city and I create a city and I sit down and I do a city, I do the W's, and in this order, it's why, where, who, and what. Mm-hmm. It's why is this city here? Period. That's first question when I sit down. Why is city here? Okay, well, it's a mining city. That tells me right there more questions than I ever needed. So it's a mining city. Okay, so where? So what I'll do is I'll draw a diamond on the map of whatever size I feel like, and I'll write out and draw out the map of the surrounding area. It doesn't need to be huge. It's just there's a mountains up there, there's a river down here. Period. Done. Okay, cool. So I got the why and the where. Now I go to what? Or now I go to who? Mm-hmm. Who runs the city? Who is important in this city that the players need to know? If the Council of 12 runs this city and they're all mercantile guild masters, and the players have no possible way of interacting with them, I don't need to come up with them. Right. I come up with what is needed for the players at the time. They don't need to know that the captain of the guard of the East Ward is secretly sleeping with one of the council members' wives. That's not important. I don't need to go that detail. I just need to know who is important in this town that the players need to know. And then I do what? What are the players going to do in this town? I'm obviously creating a town for some reason. So what are they doing? Oh, well, they're here to find out why the gold is being skimmed off the top. Okay, so I know it's a mining town, and I know that the town is near a river, and I know that the town is near mountains, and I know that the town is run by a guild master council, and I know that the town has gold being skimmed. That right there is enough for an adventure in this town. Mm-hmm. I don't need to do every single temple in this town.
Exactly.
If a player tells me he's a cleric, on the map I'll write temple. If he says I'm a cleric of Helm, well, there happens to be a temple of Helm here. Oh no, I meant Tempest. Oh, well, that's what I meant. There's a cleric. There's a temple Tempest here. You don't need to be specific unless it's part and integral to the story.
Exactly, and it's always you should invent in a city. I mean, you did the good dub. I like the W's. You got in a broad strokes the city. Yep. But as far as like the people in it and what's going on, it only needs to be detailed enough for what you're running at that time.
Yep.
Not, I don't want to make a detailed city with all this other stuff going on for like 5 adventures down the road. You're not there. Don't worry about it. Do what you need for the story.
Mm-hmm. The other thing you need to worry about also, agreeing with you, is you don't even have to do the entire town. I said draw a diamond on a piece of paper. I don't have to fill out that entire fucking diamond. If they're only going to be dealing with the northern section of town and nothing is ever going to happen in the southern tip of that diamond, I don't need to fill it in.
Oh, guys, I found it. I found it on Noble Knight Games, Town of Baltimore. That's what it was.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a complete blank slate that you can fill in however you want. I may just buy this again.
And how much is it from them?
Noble Knight, they actually have one for $15 in fair condition. Near mint is $20. So I'm gonna buy this sumbitch right now.
Buy 2. I'll never mind. No, don't, Glenn. Don't.
You sure?
Just like I'm sure.
Are you absolutely sure?
I got to put some brakes on myself sometime.
Is that your final answer?
Going twice.
Get out of here. Go order your copy. Never mind.
Oh, you're funny.
But thanks for anyway. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, city building. I think you got the gist of it. The thing is, you make as much as you can for what you need in the next game.
Mm-hmm.
And no more, because after a while, if you keep doing that, after 5 games, you're starting to build a city.
Yep. Exactly.
You keep what you did, and then, okay, over here we're going to go over to the southern section of the city. We're dealing with the merchants. Okay, you create that, and you add that to what you have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. And you want to know what? I think in Splatbook 116, if we are up for it, because that will no, actually, never mind. I just saw what we have. We're going to be reviewing Cities of Mystery for option package. I was going to suggest doing a brainstorm about a city, but that might be an episode unto itself, considering how the 4 of us riff together.
Yeah.
True.
Well, anyway, I can put that on the table.
Anyway, THACOShammer@gmail.com. You guys know what to do. Let's go on to Magic Fingers.
The White Wizard approaches.
There's no such thing as magic.
You always were the better magician. You guys know that. But whatever your secret was, you have to agree. Mine is better.
Magic Fingers.
Magic Finger, spells and the effects in towns and cities. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a real concern if you're dealing with a lot of magic user types.
Right.
No, it isn't. We just burn things down.
Burn things down, blow them up.
Blow them up, yeah.
Yeah, disintegrate them if we must, yeah.
Right.
Earthquake.
It's basically how do people feel about magic users in their town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the funny part is that the Duchy of Karamakos looks really, really down on magic users because they're both
not as much as Galliantry does.
Oh no, that's the other
the other one.
Other end of the spectrum. Yeah. But I mean, so in most of the towns in cities in the Duchy, spellcasting is depending on how it is
regulated.
Yeah, not even regulated. In some cases, it's illegal, and in one particular case, it's outlawed completely. Right. Where it's like an automatic class 3 crime just to cast a magic spell. And but it all depends on the region. But we're getting a little farther afield. I'm opening up my my 2nd edition spellbook app,
There's going to be a significant difference between throwing pass wall to find a quick way down into the sewers and casting rock to mud and discovering a quick way down into the sewers.
Exactly.
One kind of self-repairs the street. The other leaves a big gaping hole, even after the spell's dispelled or expired. And then you have to explain that.
Yep. And, like, I'm just going through the list, like, just first-level spells. I mean, if you're in a foreign land and you don't speak the language, comprehend languages is just crucial. Even if it's just going to an inn and ordering food or ordering lodging.
And if it's a city that's like a crossroads city or a border city or some city that's very metropolitan, that because it's especially governmental, like the seat of government in a nation or something like that, you better have comprehend languages.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I mean, just that one spell can make things just so much easier for the player characters who are just out in a foreign city and they don't know their way around yet.
And there's those guys say, "Why do we need Orcish as a second language? Send it back over the border."
Yeah.
Anyway,
spells like geez, I just had it here. Where is it? Spells like I just lost it. What the hell? Well, no alignment is good.
Yeah. Feeble mind, right?
Yeah, for those times when you just don't want to negotiate with a trader, exactly. Oh, I'll let you have it for 5 copper, sure.
That's 50% off, isn't it?
Like tongues is another one, which is a more powerful version of comprehend languages. Let's see.
It is going to be a point of order if the city is even literate enough to require read language.
True.
That's true.
That's very true. And that's something that, if it's a city big enough, you would think so. But yeah, I take your point is well taken. Let's see. I'm going into 5th level spells now. Let's see. Most of the Leomund spells are good just for being able to withdraw to another place. Like, say you rent out like one small room and you've got a party of 8 adventurers and the innkeeper's looking at you odd. Well, you're low on money, so you got to do things like this. And you just traipse into that one room and they watch you walk
Tiny
in.
hut.
Yeah, exactly. Tiny hut, the mansion, and things like that.
There are incredibly magic-savvy cities that might charge extra taxes just because they understand that you're now infringing on their business model.
Yeah, then there's
the mansion. Yeah, we call it a TARDIS.
It's dimensionally transcendental.
So why don't we talk about you're going over spells and stuff, but I mean general attitude of the populace, government, and law enforcement.
Okay.
About magic.
Well,
it all depends on the gamut.
Well, if it's more or less a neutral city towards magic, I would say it more depends on what the party's using the spells for. I mean, if they're using magic missile to attack the town guard because they want to arrest the thief because he got caught pickpocketing, that's going to have a problem, and that leads to escalation, of course. Because
What were we going to say, Corey?
Nothing. I was just going to say there's lots of spells that can be cast in a town that inadvertently could cause more problems. You cast, summon monster.
Oh, yeah.
Just because the monster may not attack townsfolk, it may get away and it may walk away. It may, leave, not do what you're doing. Guess what? You've just changed the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the thing about monster summoning spells is that they're temporary, thank goodness.
They are temporary, but that doesn't mean that they can't have immediate and lasting effects on the immediate ecosystem in the town. What's going to happen when no merchants can take their freaking horses down the merchant square because a trio of bears was summoned and they can smell that for days.
Right. Right.
Let's see. You can always variant that too with, say, you walk through one of those ever popular Underdark, Undermountain curtains of magic dispelling, and you had your summoned badger with you, and it doesn't necessarily dispel the magic, sending it back to where it came from or dissipating it. It severs the summon connection, leaving it locked there.
Yep.
Which, if you're summoning adventures, can turn into a creative way to, get people there.
This could also boil down to magic items.
Right.
Yeah.
Certain things could be banned from being sold.
But any kind of fire spells could, oh well, we just had two wizards dueling it out here in the street about 20 minutes ago. Oh, is that why the small hay bale cart was smoldering for an hour and a half, and now the building that it's next to is now currently on fire?
But a decanter of endless water will go for premium money, especially if the city is going to try and buy it for the fire brigade.
Yes, sure. That's what I was going to say. The flip side, say you had a +2 flute of rat summoning, and all of a sudden you're the Pied Piper of Hamelin, making money hand over fist. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot. It can definitely get dicey depending on what you cast.
Yeah, it could really be interesting.
And you can also just think about the utility spells. I mean, what was one of the very first spells cast in the Dresden Files? It was Find the Path.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Find the path. You're right.
Yeah. How do you follow up on all this wonderful detective story stuff that you've thrown together for your epic city adventure? Well, they're going to have to start using divination spells. They're going to have to start using tracking spells. They're going to have to start using information gathering spells.
There's a wonderful book in the Lord Darcy series, the only novel, called Too Many Magicians. And not to spoil the ending, but it was your basic locked room mystery in a Victorian world full of magic. And the guy figured out, because the guy who did it stabbed somebody through a keyhole when he went to pick up a piece of paper at the door. Well, how did he know when he was going to be at the keyhole? Because the guy can see 5 minutes into the future.
Oh, really?
And knew where he would be.
Wow.
And so it's like, okay, boom, because other than that, it was a classic locked room murder mystery.
Wow.
And oh man, yeah, it's a good book. Anyway, but that's kind of the thing, like useful utilitarian spells, things like that. You just use a spell to see in the future slightly. But anyway, that's the kind of thing. You got good stuff, you got bad stuff. There's some cities who will just not let magic in no way, shape, or form.
It's true. And go ahead.
Unless you're going to be persecuted or something. Anyway, go
ahead.
Right.
Right. No, I was going to say that comes down to how the DM decides to, if he's using published material or if he's doing his own thing. It all depends. That's something that you have to think of, because as we know, most players are going to try to use magic as much as possible, whether if it's a surreptitious a no alignment spell on a possible hireling or henchman and things like that, or trying to charm the barkeep to give you, in order to give you guys, carte blanche it in, or whatever it is.
The judicious use of a cantrip like belch or fart during the middle of someone's interview with the head of state.
And there's also the flip side of that for, like, in the Forgotten Realms, Shadowdale is deliriously happy that Elminster decided to make his home there.
Yeah.
Added protection.
Oh, yeah, because nobody's going to mess with that old man. And
or the town he lives in.
And the whole thing, and because of that, the town gets a how should I say this? The town has a certain cachet, if you will, because he's there.
Yeah. And also, aside from that, he is there because there's always those adventurers are going looking for him.
Oh, yeah.
Which is even more protection for the town.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and not
his
only
spells
that,
won't do it. We got a bunch of swords here. you
yeah,
know?
and not only that, they have their own adventuring party there, the Knights of Mr. Nor. They're all based in Shadowdale.
Right.
You know,
So that, so you've got like the magical protection there on top of swords.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And not to
you've got
mention one of the
areas where
sisters
you've got
lives there.
You've got Cormyr, where you've got the War Wizards are the organized guild of mages, the only allowed practitioners of open public magic, versus things like going into Waterdeep, where if you're going to be a open practitioner of adventure battle magic, you have carte blanche, signed yourself over as an ad hoc adjunct member of the town guard with said responsibilities on call.
Or the Harpers.
Yeah.
Well, that's the IMF of the Forgotten Realms, so they don't necessarily advertise.
And
except they advertise.
Yeah, Cormyr, it's like, you don't mess with magic in Vandergast Town. No, you do not.
No, well, you can't operate as an adventuring party in Cormyr at all without a freaking note from the king. Remember that.
Azoon's got to sign off on that, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. That's the way he runs. That's the way he runs that country.
Which is not really a bad thing.
No, but you are now at the beck and call. Go ahead.
Yeah, you'd be at the beck and call, but you have this piece of paper saying you're authorized, and some of that carries a little weight outside of Cormyr too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had my character Lojak, I use in the Lumpers. I played him before, and part of his backstory is he's a former purple dragon.
Right.
And that carries a lot of weight in certain parts of where he was adventuring.
Right, and it gets him in trouble in other places like Zental Keep.
That's true. That's true.
Grondar was part of the Waterdeep Brute Squad. Yeah.
I mean, being a former purple dragon, he's one of the first people they call if they need to sweat a perp.
Yeah, exactly. Because all he's got to do is show up in his finery.
Or not even that. He's got the sword.
Mm-hmm. Then there's that. It's just like, you know what this is? I know you know, don't you? Know what it is, don't you?
So you're going to tell us everything you know.
Yeah. And if you don't, we're just going to have to
I've heard a few things being in Cormyr that you don't want to really have me do.
Right.
Type of
then
thing.
you have magic use in places like Thay.
Oh!
Yeah, then there's that.
Ducking the fireballs coming down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the Wild West town if I ever seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And
I think Zental Keep would have been the same way, except the guys keep it on. The government really keeps that on lockdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Zental Keep. There's one hell of a place to live.
But anyway, we're giving these examples as just examples. We're not, we're trying not to go off on a realms tangent.
Yeah.
These are real good examples of how different towns treat different, magic.
Mm-hmm.
And things.
Right. Yes. Most of them, it's at the very least passe for you to go around casting spells out in the open.
Right. and things like, governments who are okay with magic will have a magic user on staff at the constabulary for investigation purposes. The governments will have their, like we said, Azoon and Vandergast. I mean, he's counsel to the king, and he's basically running all the magic in Cormyr.
Right.
And so
if the report that got into the City Watch is that the bar brawl involved blades, they send one squad. If they say that, oh, by the way, and fireballs blew out the ground floor of the bar, they'll send another squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just keeps escalating from there, and sooner or later, whoever's causing all the trouble gets subdued or killed.
It has not been unknown that it is not unknown for towns to. It is not unknown for towns to have magical. How do you say it? I want to say gentlemen. Consulting detectives.
Yes. Yeah. Forensic detectives. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I said Dresden Files earlier.
Yeah. Yes. Then there's that.
I've got my character Solomon Heaves.
Mm-hmm.
He's a traveling mortician, necromancer.
Right.
But he also services several towns as
Chirurgeon.
As medical examiner, as a Quincy, as a
Quincy ME.
Yeah.
And then there's also the other side you could have. If you happen to have a magical academy in town, you have Hogwarts 2, the college years.
There you go.
God, stop. Just stop right there, please. I beg of you. But anyway.
And there's a lot. I've seen. What was the one where they said they can always like shoot first and speak with dead later?
Yeah, exactly. Geez, that sounds like Luskin or something like that. Somewhere it's like really, bordering on lawless in a way.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. I think we lost Corey permanently.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I think we've exhausted this.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
I guess we can. Yeah. Okay. Well, give us your thoughts on Magic in a City at THACOsHammer@gmail.com.
Yes, indeed.
And we are here again at the end of another Splat book. Time to close it. Corey had to drop out, and so we will give we will give him goodbyes. Corey says goodbye. Corey says goodbye. Yeah.
Goodbye, Corey.
Yeah.
You want to say goodbye, full on?
I will see you all again when the hammer comes down here on THACO's Hammer, deep in the desert. Looking for a city. Actually, there is one on the horizon, but I'll get to that later.
Did you guys ever play The Lost City in the desert there?
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. Say goodbye, Brian.
Just take care, folks, and just remember, if you're creating your own city, lift and shift, as Fulan has always said over the years, and make it your own.
Yeah, lift and shift. That's what they told Dolly Parton. But anyway, and I'm DM Glenn, going off on some weird tangent again, saying I'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye.
That's a whole other way to describe supporting spheres.
But she's a cleric now?
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at THACOsHammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at THACOsHammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.